So, I'm here at event 2 of the F1 ESports Series here at the GFinity Arena in London. I've never been to one of these races before, so I'm super excited. I'm also here a day early to take a behind-the-scenes peek at the production and also talk to our favourites, Bono and Enzo. Obviously, not biased at all.
First things first, I caught up with Rob from Formula 1 to talk esports, real racing, and whether they're inevitably going to collide sometime in the future.
Formula 1 is obviously the pinnacle of motorsport. Have you had any challenges trying to maintain that reputation in esports?
Well, yeah, you're absolutely right. When we entered esports for the first time, just over 24 months ago, there was a feeling that if we were going to do it, we needed to do it properly, and it needed to be really the elite level esports competition in the world. So a lot of that comes through our sort of acquisition phase when we open up the competition for gamers to enter online. In 2019, we had over 109,000 people participate. So when you have that volume of people trying to enter your competition, you know that you've got a good chance of really getting the best of the best. And I think that comes across in the events, the quality of drivers we have, the quality of the shows we put together, and also it helps the quality of talent we have. We've had Lando Norris down here a couple of times, who's really great at elevating the shows as well.
How long do you think it will be until we see some sim racing drivers transition their way into traditional motorsport?
Well, I'd say that sort of process is kind of already beginning in a way. I think a lot of the people who are watching this will be familiar with what Enzo did at Race of Champions last year in Mexico, where he beat Lucas de Grassi in a real car. So it's testament to how transferable the skills are. The rigs that the guys race on behind us here are very, very similar in terms of the skill set. I think when you look at other esports in football or other sports, the skills aren't necessarily transferable, whereas here they really, really are. So McLaren are one of the teams who have done a great job of making that transition, but definitely some of the guys who compete here 100% have those skills to make it in motorsport, and that's been shown by Enzo.
So Paul, you're head of esports here at GFinity. Could you tell me a little bit more about that role and what you do here?
Sure, so I look after making sure the whole event runs from start to finish. And unlike traditional sports, we have a lot more inputs. So we take something like football, you have a bunch of cameras around the pitch, and that's really all they take care of. Here we have to take a feed from every single rig, so we have 20 inputs purely from the drivers alone. We then have multiple cameras around that. We then have to bring that all together, mux it into one central place, put it through multiple replay machines so we can continually catch it. We then circulate that around the broadcast, we put it up to the cloud, we peer-to-peer to BT Tower and make sure linear broadcast can pick that up. We also send it into multiple CDNs so that we can pick it up in places like Twitch and Facebook and YouTube. Last but not least, we also have to give all the feeds back to the adjudication room. So behind the stage here, we have a team of about 30 people monitoring every single input at all times in real time and catching any drivers, shall we say, breaking the rules.
Sounds nerve-wracking, but how about the competitors? Fresh from the driver briefings, I had a quick word with Shadow Pros, Bono and Enzo.
So we've spoken to some of the production team here at GFinity about what actually goes into creating a production of this size, but what's it like for a racer?
It's great. The atmosphere around here, it feels great. It's nice to have such a stage. I think for sim racing it's one of the biggest stage. It's the biggest stage for sure. Yeah, it's great to be here in general.
So the whole preparation at home is already big with making the setups and everything. So that's basically what you prepare for 3 weeks to be absolutely ready here. So you have the same equipment at home and you try and make the rig as similar as possible to what you have at home, but that's always very difficult to get right for some reason. It always feels a little bit different.
So you touched a little bit on adjudication, and we spoke to Rob earlier on about how adjudication differs between real-world racing and sim racing. Could you talk about that from your perspective as a racer?
They do take it very seriously. They look at everything. They look at every single scenario and review it, so it's very serious. The penalties, they try and apply it in the same way as real life,
So you don't just turn up and race. What are the steps that goes into preparing for tomorrow, actually?
I try to chill as much as possible, sleep as much as possible, because sometimes when we are at home and we practice and we want to find things, we stay up late, like 1 or 2 a.m. So trying to get in the rhythm, go to sleep early. Many hours. It's really just that, I think.
There'll be 3 races at this event, and after the lights go out in Montreal, everyone is looking aggressive into turn 1. Later, the rain comes and there's contact among the front runners. Rasmussen takes the checkered flag, but is later awarded a 3-second penalty, having crossed the pit exit line. Enzo starts from P4 in race 2 and keeps his car intact through the first corner chaos, while those in front of him squabble for the top 3 places. After a stellar outlap, he finishes in provisional P3, only to be stripped of his first F1 podium following another adjudication. Silverstone's always a great track for overtaking, and there's no shortage of battles in this race, like this move around the outside of Tunitsa by Rasmussen, who looks dominant until lap 11 when Kiefer executes a textbook pass through the inside of Stowe for the win. Silverstone wasn't the best race for our shadow drivers, with both of them finishing outside of the top 10, but with Bono and Enzo banking solid points earlier in the event, they head home at 8th and 13th in the standings respectively. We're expecting they'll be especially hungry for the next F1 esports event on the 6th of November. How exciting! And if you don't want to miss out on all the upcoming shadow action, then don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to be notified every time we upload.